So the question is, do I feel like women are more emotional than men? And to answer this question, I'm going to say no. I feel that there's a huge misinterpretation and there's a lot of assumption that goes on because of society as a whole and the associations that we've put with certain perspectives. So let me explain. I feel like we as humans, we all have emotion, regardless of who you are, what gender, what race. We all have emotion. We're happy, we're sad, we're angry. We all have emotion. Now, how we display this emotion, of course, depends on how we were brought up, our beliefs, our upbringing, etc. So, for a lot of men feel like men don't cry when they're sad, or men don't really show emotion because if you show emotion, it's a sign of vulnerability, it's a sign of weakness. And I feel like women, they display sadness different than men do. They're more expressive with their emotions and their feelings. It's not that they're more emotional, and you would assume that an individual who's very emotional, like who just experienced a loss, would be in a place where they're crying because like they're very sad at this moment. So you'd assume very sad equals very emotional, and you'd assume that all women are very emotional because anytime they display emotions for the most part, it's more expressive. I won't say more extreme, it's more expressive than when a man would. Because society has said that men can't express emotions the same way women can because you look weak, you look vulnerable, and you look less than a man. You got to uphold this image of what you feel like a man is. The reality of it is you're human. You're going to have emotions and feelings, and it's okay to express those emotions and feelings however you're comfortable doing so. And if you as a man need to cry to express sadness, then cry. If you as a man need to take a minute because you're angry, you don't have to just toughen up and deal with it because that's what society tells you need to do. You can express it the way you need to as long as you're not harming yourself or harming someone else in the process. And I think and I feel because women express their emotions a certain way that they're deemed, excuse me, that they're deemed more emotional. And granted, women do have, from my understanding, women do have more hormones, or they have the hormones in their body cause them to maybe be more emotional more often than men, which would cause them to express those emotions that they have more often, which would make someone else feel who has a misunderstanding that women are more emotional because they constantly show emotions more often than men would. I feel like I kind of said the same thing twice, I'm not sure. But I don't feel like women are more emotional in the sense. I think that women are more expressive with their emotions than men are. And just because women are more expressive, or just because women might have more emotions more often, does not mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that the same way you would help your partner or help a friend, regardless of what they're going through, you be there for them and understand that they're human and everybody's working out their things. I don't feel like that should be an excuse to invalidate or dismiss someone's feelings because you as an individual feel like they shouldn't be feeling what they're feeling, or it shouldn't happen as often because it doesn't happen for you that way. I feel like that's unfair to write somebody off when you don't understand necessarily what they're going through, and because you assume, because there's an association with your perspective, that things should be this way, and because they're not, it's wrong. I don't think that should be the case. So when I hear very often, women are just emotional, it's just the hormones, it's just this, it's just that, or she's always annoying, she's always too much, or she's always doing too much. I don't think that is necessarily that's the case if a woman's crying just because she's sad. Like, you could be sad too as a man and display the same feelings and emotions. Now, you might be afraid of other people's perspective and how they view you, and that has nothing to do with the other person in the relationship. That has to do with you strictly internally, because you're afraid of crying because somebody's going to view you less of a man or view you as sassy because you have emotions and feelings. And I understand that on top of that, not everyone's receptive of another individual's feelings and emotions because they might not know what to say or what to do because they don't know how to regulate their own feelings and emotions. But that's a whole different conversation for a whole different time. Well, ultimately, I don't feel like women are more emotional. So I'm going to leave it at that.